What is up? Good morning, everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me properly. I think that's step one here before we start yapping, like I said before. Oh, so the YouTube chat doesn't come out. Just drop a comment down below. Because we got a lot to talk about today. It's Friday. Friday, October 27th, right? We're into the end of the month. Next week, it's going to be November 1st on Wednesday. And the earnings do continue, right? We had Amazon earnings that came out, and you can see it on the screen here. It's the first of many, it would seem, that aren't getting destroyed, right? Like other than Microsoft and Netflix. Netflix actually holding some of the gains. Microsoft actually turning a lot lower. Amazon here up decent pre-market, right? Like 7 points from this like distribution ledge. Let's see, from yesterday's close, we are up about 5.5%. We can call it on Amazon here pre-market, and we'll see if this thing sustains realistically to see some kind of bullishness into the end of the week. But right now, the controlled and continued sell in the overall market has been extremely persistent. So stock index futures, right, they were a little higher to start Friday's session. We did pull back really aggressively only to get bid up and kind of pulled back really aggressively into the close, actually. Direction was expected to change or have some kind of an impact with this morning's PCE figures, right? The Federal Reserve's favorite inflation gauge that came out. And we'll discuss those, right? Fairly muted results from that in itself. And this could help boost sentiment since earnings on Amazon were reported, quarterly profits that tripled nearly $10 billion. Amazon shares rose about 5.5% after hours to about 126, as we can see. They cost cut and strong sales that brushed aside any concerns on generative AI is also seen to be worth tens of billions of dollars in revenue, according to CEO Anthony Jassy, who is very optimistic about it. In terms of the PCE that came out this morning, let's take a look at some of these figures. The PCE index month over month was expected at 0.3%. It came out at 0.4%, right? U.S. consumer spending month over month, 0.5 came out 0.7, which is a good figure. U.S. core PCE index year over year, right? Last time was 3.9. This time expected 3.7, and it came out at 3.7%. The U.S. core PCE index month over month, 0.3% expected. That's what came out. So a slight increase from last time's 0.1%. And then we have, what else? I believe that's it, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So kind of mixed figures, kind of flat on the board. Markets are up very slightly from that news, right? We're kind of in a limbo right now. So we continue with that undefined necessary knowledge of, or undefined, I would say, sentiment from this market that came out, right? Even with these PC figures that came out here pre-market, we don't really get too much of either bull or bear. Amazon, on the other hand, right, it's erased 2 days of large losses, now sitting back above that 126 area, and Wednesday's top before we started this massive drop to the downside. I don't necessarily think that these equity names, right, especially with tech, we have Apple next week to report earnings, are necessarily done. Right, with this sell-off, you can see Apple got beat up yesterday for the first time in a very long time. With earnings coming out next week, I think a lot of people should wait for that to see any signs of bottomings in the market realistically. We also had GDP figures yesterday, right? GDP figures for Q3 blew every analyst estimate out of the water, especially when most economists had expected the country to be mired in a recession by this time in 2023. And the American economy expanded at its annualized rate of 4.9% to reflect the strongest quarter since Q4 2021, exceeding, right, 4.2% expected and powering up from the 2.1 advanced in Q2. So the increase was driven by strong consumer spending among other variables, right? This fresh data has the potential to mean something for the Federal Reserve as well, based on this strong growth. Another interest rate hike by end of year seems to be a sure thing, apparently, according to investing group and premium subscriber, right, Value Digger. I currently let me see. I think you're getting ahead of yourselves, right? Some people said, right, and November Fed meeting is currently at 100% chance of no hike, and December has a 75.5% chance of no hike in the Fed funds futures. And the meeting for November comes out next week, right, on Wednesday, November 1st, which we're going to be trading with our live trading room. So in terms of news, right, there's not too much to go around other than these figures that came out over the last few days here. We've also seen a rampant rally in cryptocurrency, right? BTC USD, let's see how that looks. Before we take a look at our trade plan on the ES for today, you can see over the last few days, massive rally in Bitcoin. And a lot of people are talking about this continued potential move with a new bull market arising, right? It's about half the price of its high that traded where? About like 68, 69 bucks, right? So we're halfway there realistically. All the bulls in crypto are getting excited about that. Generally speaking, the market, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's bottomed very concretely, right? It's very difficult to call these bottoms, but we are seeing signs of things starting to capitulate. I wouldn't necessarily say capitulation is there. There's a lot of metrics to take into consideration to talk about capitulation. So far, the selling that we've seen over the past few days, over the past few weeks, has been pretty controlled. We haven't seen any real panic. In the CNN fear and greed estimator, we've entered extreme greed, but just barely, right, as markets are trading in the 4100s. We're very close to we're at a 2-year point of control right now, where this is why we were looking for a little pump yesterday off some of those key levels. And I think that prices could sustain a rotationary environment until we get some more news, especially after the Federal Reserve meeting next week. So will there be a bottom before next Thursday, Wednesday? I don't necessarily think so, right? Can we see a little more sell pressure? Yeah. We haven't seen anyone panic sell and just distribute this thing to the downside realistically. So today, if I take a look at my S&P 500 chart here, right, we've got some interesting aspects. I don't know which chart is about to move right now. 1 second. We got some interesting aspects taken into consideration. Yesterday, we had a key level sitting around that 4205, right? You can see there's a naked point of control sitting up there. A lot of volume shaped up on the overnight, right? We failed that area. A lot of volume building up now into that mid-50, into the lows as well, away from that POC from yesterday. So we're still in this like fairly large range right now. I would say that the bull side gets more ecstatic above that 90, especially above that like low 80. I'd be more bullish right now. We're in the middle of this, and I'd really give it some time. Remember, it's Friday, people. We could obviously see a sell side, that mid-80, right? You can see prior day's POC. We could see some sell side because this thing has just been continuously selling. I don't necessarily see the reasoning to be overtly bullish in this market without real capitulation. And it's Friday. Don't overtrade, right? Don't ramp up the positioning. Today is not the day for you to make back your losses for the week. If you have them, if you have greed on the week, then even better, right? Call it an early weekend. So have a great weekend, everyone. Let's wrap this up. I hope everyone enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the Monday session next week. We do have some more news. Our friends at Apple are reporting earnings, and the Federal Reserve is coming out with the meeting minutes and that Fed's funds rate that's expected at 0%.